Good morning and welcome to the news at 10 on NTA News 24. We are transmitting live on the network service of the NTA. I am Claire Adelabu Abdulrazak.
And I am Anne Jibuno. Thanks for joining us on the news. Now the headlines.
490 new cases shoot the number of coronavirus confirmed cases in Nigeria to more than 17,000.
Lagos state government suspends opening of worship centers indefinitely due to COVID-19.
And Court of Appeal upholds suspension of Comrade Adams Oshomole as member and national chairman of All Progressives Congress, APC.
Police, NAPTIP and Human Rights Commission agree on national approach to address menace of sexual and gender-based issues.
All right, thank you for joining us. Let's begin with COVID-19 update. And in the early hours of today, Wednesday, June the 17th, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, released 490 new confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the country. Now, the 490 new cases raises the number of confirmed cases to more than 17,140. In the breakdown are Lagos 142, the FCT has 60, Bayelsa has 54, Rivers 39, Delta recorded 37 new cases, Oyo 30, Katsina 26 and Imo 23. Enugu has 19 new cases, Kwara recorded 17, Gombe 11, Ondo 10 and Bauchi has 8. Ogun State has 7 new cases, Borno 6, Benue 1. Lagos remains top on the Nigeria COVID-19 chart table with more than 7,460. Next on the chart is the FCT with more than 1,300, and Kano comes next with more than 1,150. About 455 people have so far died from the virus complications, while more than 5,620 patients have been discharged.
And still staying with COVID-19, the Lagos state government has suspended planned reopening of churches and mosques indefinitely as a result of rising cases of COVID-19 in the state. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, at a news conference on the update of COVID-19, assured residents that government will continue to base its decision-making on data modeling to ensure the protection of lives and property.
And I want to inform you that we will not be proceeding with the opening of the places of worship as been said earlier for the 19th and 21st. We will be suspending it until further notice.
Governor Sanwo-Olu, who expressed gratitude to those on the front lines of the response to the pandemic in the public and private sectors, urged residents to obey government's COVID-19 directives as community transmission is on the increase. Nosa Osula reports that the government had planned to reopen the worship centers on Friday this week.
And from Ondo State comes a report that 7 health workers are among new confirmed cases of COVID-19. And the state government has shut down a private clinic for admitting COVID-19 patients.
Governor Oluwa Rotimi Akeredolu, who lamented the rising cases of COVID-19 in the state at his weekly press briefing, said this is now, or rather time is now, for communities to wage war against the spread of the virus. Abiola Ario reports.
Expressing anxiety over the immense proportions of COVID-19 cases in Ondo State, Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu described as worrisome new record of over 30 cases within 7 days. Ondo State now has 81 infected persons. This, the governor observed, is a clear case of community transmission, which calls for urgent intervention.
Recall that in my last address, I emphasized the need of our community to be active and own campaign against this pandemic. What has happened since then has justified that call, and that call must be further invigorated now.
The governor stressed the need to deploy communal tactics in tackling the spike, urging the people to be proactive and cooperate with government in the fight against further spread of the virus. He also directed security agents and the state task force on COVID-19 to step up their game in ensuring that all the containment protocols are strictly followed by the people. In Akure, Abiola Rio, NTA News.
And the federal government has threatened to sack all striking National Association of Resident Doctors, NARD, who failed to report to work on Wednesday as the ongoing reconciliation meeting ended in deadlock. Minister of Health, Dr. Sagi Hanire, has directed all chief medical directors of federal medical centers to open a register by 7 o'clock this morning and close at 12 noon to take record of those who come to work and those who fail to turn up. Now, the meeting, which commenced at 1:30 in the afternoon Tuesday, ended at 6:45 in the evening after members of the association led by the president stormed out of the meeting, insisting that they would only suspend the ongoing action within 24 hours if the government brings something tangible to the table.
Health is a very sensitive matter, especially when we now have a pandemic. And we have ILO conventions at work and on strike to guide us at these perilous times. So the Minister of Health will speak because we have to put up some ad hoc arrangements. The government has to put up some ad hoc arrangements to preserve the people of Nigeria.
The resident doctors have told us that they're not going to be returning to work very soon until certain other conditions are met, and we are not sure that they will not continue extending the goalpost every time we try to reach a solution. Therefore, certain steps need to be taken to protect citizens, particularly those who are in hospital, and most particularly those who are looking for emergency service and those who are in intensive care for COVID-19.
In the meantime, the Joint Health Sector Unions, JOHISU, has appealed to the federal government to implement the COVID-19 Hazard Allowances Agreement to be paid to all health workers and not only medical doctors, while leaving out other medical workers. The union, in a letter addressed to the Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, dated June 15, 2020, over the recently released 4 billion naira for the National Association of Resident Doctors, NARD, without JOHISU being considered, has become a thing of worry. The affected unions called on the Secretary to the Government of the Federation and the Minister of Health to immediately effect the implementation of the Memorandum of Understanding dated 21st April 2020 and the Memorandum of Action reached with government last week.
And the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs, Festus Daudu, has called for synergy between the public and private sectors in tackling the coronavirus pandemic, as government cannot fight the scourge alone. Receiving a hand-washing and sanitizing equipment donated to the ministry by the International Institute of Certified Forensic Investigation Professionals, the Permanent Secretary extolled the ingenuity of Nigerian youths through local inventions to combat coronavirus.
Our youth have been exposed to come up with their own initiatives in the fight against COVID-19. It's a collective fight, and I believe that together, if we put all our efforts together, we'll be able to come out victorious.
This hand wash and sanitizing machine used with your foot. You press the soap, you get the soap, you press the water, you wash your hand, and you sanitize your hand, and poop, you go. There is nothing like hand contact in the process. So it's safer, beautifully done by a Nigerian youth, and We found it very important and key to promote Nigerian youth.
The institute says more of the equipment will be distributed to other federal ministries as part of its corporate social responsibility to support the fight against COVID-19.
Plateau State government says it is working on measures to enhance quick economic recovery using agriculture after COVID-19.
And Governor Simon Bakulalong stated this during a visit to Back Farms in Zalaki Bassa local government area, where he also announced that the state has gone far in the process of reacquiring the farm. Correspondent Priscilla Grunam reports.
On more than 5,000 hectares of land, the brewery agro-research company Back Farms, which was sold 27 years ago, was reacquired by the Lalong administration in its quest to improving the economic fortunes of the people through agriculture. In line with one of his cardinal points of economic rebirth, Governor Lalong said government will continue to open avenues that will encourage people to go into farming. He advised citizens to leverage on the opportunity to produce more food, as agriculture is the greatest hope of coping with the impact of COVID-19.
Our dream on the long run is that the farm, which has potential for occupying over 30% to 40% share of the agro-allied market in Nigeria, will leverage on these existing structures to cultivate crops that the state has comparative advantage in.
Managing Director, Plateau Investments and Property Company, Chris Yilzak, Commissioners for Agriculture, Hosea Finangwai, and that of Commerce and Industry, Joseph Aku, commended Governor Lalong for his foresight in putting the land into use, saying this will lead to massive agricultural revolution in the state.
That any investment in agriculture will be exempted from a period of 5 years. That means any investor that will come and invest will have a 5-year tax holiday. Is from the federal government if you are investing anywhere in Nigeria, and there's a possible extension of 3 years.
From the area of providing inputs to farmers, in the area of tractorization scheme, in the area of keeping faith with payment of countable fund to RAM, Fadama 3, to also potato value chain, has gone a long way to establish Plateau State, taking advantage of the endowment that God has given to us.
Through your efforts to bring in peace and peaceful coexistence, it's the very reason why the place is back.
Interested civil servants, representatives of NLC, TUC, pensioners, All Farmers Association, Association of Women in Agriculture, and members of the host community were presented with bags of fertilizer to start farming on a rent basis for a period of 6 months. Chairman of Bassa Local Government Area, Chindo Gona, and the Ogomo Pengana of Pengana Chiefdom expressed delight at the resuscitation of the Back Farms, which will boost the agricultural profile of the state and create job opportunities. In Jos, Priscilla Grumnan, NTA News.
In the meantime, Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed has assured members of the Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria that the federal government is desirous of carrying them along in this era of COVID-19 pandemic as dependable allies.
Now, the minister stated this during a virtual meeting with the members. Anthony Forson was there.
The government needs the media, so the media must survive to play its role.
The virtual meeting with the Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigerian members is in continuation of series of engagements by the Information and Culture Minister to work out short, medium and long-term strategies to come up with a package that will mitigate the impact of the pandemic. The minister explained that government is worst hit by the pandemic, which has had a serious impact on the economy, pushing it to dive low with oil price not favorable.
While we are thinking of the COVID-19 period, we should also be thinking about the post-COVID-19, because clearly there's going to be a new normal. Life cannot be the same way it was before. We will have to conduct businesses differently, and we must be resourceful and creative to ensure that post-COVID-19 will come back stronger.
In their separate comments, members applauded the minister for the move and expressed gratitude over the federal government's concern for their plight in this COVID-19 era. They were, however, quick to throw their weight in support of the war against fake news through the protection of content, which are published on social media platforms without royalty. A move that gladdened the heart of the Information and Culture Minister, who has been calling for an outright war against fake news, knowing its dangers to society and coexistence.
So I will be more than willing to ensure that content owners derive the maximum benefit from their creativity. So please, I'll work with you. I hope it's something that can be done without, having to go to other National Assembly or elsewhere. But if it's but I think without, without prejudice to the method we are going to adopt, please let me have a proposal from you.
With this, the NPA and members has assured the Information and Culture Minister that a proposal to check fake news through the protection of content and right owners will be submitted within 1 week. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
This News 10 is live on the network service of the NTA. Still to come?
Federal government commits to transformation of Nigeria Correctional Service. Join us again.
For now, the best and most efficient way to avoid getting infected is through regular hygienic and sanitary practices, as well as social distancing. As individuals, we remain the greatest weapon to fight this pandemic. By washing our hands regularly with clean water and soap, disinfecting frequently used surfaces and areas, coughing into a tissue or elbow, and strictly adhering to infection prevention control measures in health facilities, we can contain this virus.
Thanks for staying with us. The Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja has affirmed the suspension of Comrade Adams Oshomole as member and national chairman of the All Progressives Congress. Ruling on the interlocutory appeal filed by Oshomole, the appellate court upheld the decision of the Federal Capital Territory High Court delivered by Justice Dankami Senchi, which in March ordered the suspension of Oshomole as well as restraining him from parading himself as the national chairman of the party. In a unanimous judgment in the first appeal delivered by Justice Eunice Onyemenam, the court held that the FCT High Court had territorial jurisdiction to have entertained the suit as it did. The court also withdrew his rights and privileges as national chairman of the party, including his security details.
Meanwhile, National Working Committee of the All Progressives Congress, APC, says it has received the news indicating that the appeal court has upheld the suspension of the party's national chairman, Comrade Adams Oshomole, by an FCT High Court, pending the determination of the substantive suit. Now, the party's National Publicity Secretary, Lanre Saunilu, in a statement, said APC is guided by advice from the party's legal department in line with the provisions of Section 14(2), subsection 3 of the party's constitution, and that the Deputy National Chairman, South, Senator Abiola Ajimobi, will serve as the party's acting national chairman. According to Section 14(2), subsection 3 of the APC Constitution, the Deputy National Chairman, North-South, shall act as the national chairman in the absence of the national chairman from his zone.
In a related development, Governor Rotimi Akeredolu of Ondo State is seeking the blessings of President Muhammadu Buhari as he seeks the renewal of his mandate for a second term in office.
Now, the governor stated this while briefing newsmen after an audience with the president. State House correspondent Damos Sambo tells us more.
Governor Rotimi Akeredolu was in the State House to formally inform President Muhammadu Buhari of his desire to recontest in the forthcoming Ondo State governorship election.
Having obtained the expression of interest and nomination form, I decided to let the president know of the fact that I will be contesting election again, and that I pray God Almighty that I will be successful, and that I needed His blessing.
Certainly, I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, sir.
The Ondo State Governor told newsmen that his chances of flying the governing party's flag once more and indeed winning the election are very bright.
Direct, indirect, Aketi is a goal. We will win. In office for over 3 years, easily for me, I've done reasonable work in Ondo State, and it is there for everybody to see. It's not something that is hidden. We've gone on the issue of infrastructure, we've gone on our schools, we've gone on universities, we have gone everywhere. You remember the president visiting Ondo Lean Industrial Hub. That is a monumental achievement, and he has said to me pointedly, you have done very well in Ondo State. That can go for the president supporting you.
Ondo State governorship election comes up on the 10th of October this year, while the first-term tenure of office of Governor Akeredolu expires on February 23rd, 2021. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
And the embattled governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki, has formally resigned his membership of the governing All Progressives Congress. The governor made his decision known while briefing State House correspondents.
I'm sure the whole country knows and is aware of what has gone on with me and the party chairman and party leadership, which culminated in my disqualification as a gubernatorial aspirant. And upon that unfortunate decision by the chairman of the All Progressive Congress, I'm just here today to inform you that I have now decided formally to resign my membership of the All Progressive Congress. Having done that, I will now announce in the next few days my specific line of action and what platform I will be contesting the gubernatorial elections on.
Nigerians may like to know, why have you decided to come to the State House to make this your decision known?
I said that before I make a decision, I have to show respect to my president, who I adore, who for me is an epitome of incorruptibility, an epitome of order, an epitome of lawfulness. This is a man who, for him, that is what Nigeria should be about.
Correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that Governor Obaseki was, however, not granted audience by the president. The governor was recently disqualified from participating in the forthcoming APC governorship primary election due to what the governing party called discrepancies in his credentials. Similarly, Edo State Deputy Governor Philip Shuaibu has also announced his resignation from the APC at the Government House in Benin.
Away from politics, the federal government says it is streamlining the value chain of the power sector to key into the recovery plan program, to deliver 11,000 megawatts of electricity to Nigerians by 2023.
And Joshua Ojito reports that Minister of State for Power, Godi Jedi Agba, is meeting with relevant agencies and key players in the sector to realize this goal.
Electricity supply is being delivered along the three value chain of generation, transmission and distribution. However, their services are being impaired with challenges resulting in inadequate power supply. With the Power Sector Recovery Program launched by the federal government to address the challenges, the Ministry of Power is meeting agencies and key players on implementation of the program.
Right now, government is probing that aspect with a view to streamlining it and improving services of both transmission, generation, and distribution. I assure you that at the end of this exercise, you will see improvements in this power generation project.
Rural Electrification Agency is supporting the initiative with the Off-Grid Power Project to energize rural communities, where the Nigerian Electricity Management Services Agency, NEMSA, is strengthening its campaign against substandard electrical installations.
We do monitoring too of premises
to ensure that they are not within the right of way of power lines, to ensure safety.
We are also keying into the Siemens, project, the Presidential Power Initiative, to come up, with blueprint in how to, really harness Nigerians, human capital, whereby we ensure that at the end of the day, we handhold, the project, we handhold the training facilities.
So essentially what we like to do is to continue to promote private sector investment.
The engagement continues with other key players in the power sector so as to improve electricity supply in the country. In Abuja, Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has always emphasized that the future belongs to the youth, especially in fixing the ailing state. A statement from the senior special assistant to the president on media and publicity indicates that the president reiterates the position of democracy in this drive and counters the coalition of northern groups who put out statements claiming that Democracy Day holds no purpose. The statement adds that Nigeria recognizes Democracy Day because for many decades since independence, the fight for the right for Nigerians to choose their own government in their own name was not complete, which a prominent citizen of the country, Chief MKO Abiola, died trying to do. In response to the immature message from the CNG, the presidency therefore maintains that the coalition of northern groups will consider the facts and reconsider the unhelpful and inaccurate message their statements contain when issuing them in future.
And the federal government has promised to sustain its transformation of the Nigerian Correctional Service. Minister of Interior Rauf Aregbesola conveyed the commitment during the inauguration of newly procured operational vehicles for the service. Victor has more on the story.
There seems to be no end in sight to the reformation of the Nigerian Correctional Service. Apart from the name change from the Nigerian Prison Service, the last 5 years have seen a change in the fortunes of the service.
To the glory of God, I commission.
This time, the Nigerian Correctional Service is inaugurating 59 new operational vehicles, consisting 36 mini Green Maria vehicles, 18 escort duty vehicles, and 5 customized Green Maria vehicles. The human and infrastructural development strides already recorded notwithstanding, the Controller General of Corrections is yearning for more.
The Nigerian Correctional Service has not had it so good in recent history. Nevertheless, the service still needs more vehicles to meet the expected targets of conveying inmates almost on a daily basis to well over 5,000 courts spread across the country.
Minister of Interior Rauf Aregbesola, however, wants the service to be prudent in using the vehicles while assuring of government's continued support.
We must be prudent and highly considerate in the use of anything that we have. I wish to, however, assure you all that the federal government shall continue to take steps to improve the conditions of inmates in the custodial centers in line with global best practices.
This is the second time in 1 year that the Nigerian Correctional Service will be welcoming new operational vehicles. The first raised the bar in service delivery. Now this here is expected to take it a notch higher. From the Nigerian Correctional Service headquarters in Abuja, Victor Azu, NTA News.
And the news at 10 is broadcast live on the network service of the NTA. We have more reports to come, including
correspondent taking a look at state's post-insurgency sustainable reconstruction and resettlement program. We'll be back shortly.
This is NTA News 24 broadcasting from Abuja. You can watch us anywhere, anytime on the following platforms. For more information, log on to our website www.nta.ng or join us on our social media handles, Twitter at NTA News 24, Facebook at NTA News 24.
For comments, suggestions and inquiries, send an email to news24@nta.gov.ng or call us on the following numbers.
NTA News 24,
news and more news.
Welcome back. You're watching News at 10 on NTA News 24. Now, the Nigerian Police Force, the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, as well as the National Human Rights Commission, are working together to ensure full implementation of the newly developed standard operating procedure on responses against rape and violations of human rights.
Omenka Amarachukwu reports that this is a part of the national approach to address the menace of sexual and gender-based violence in the country.
Recent reports of violence against women and girls has reached a horrifying proportion, with some of them being killed in the process. Horror on account of this has continued to soar between the months of May and June this year in some parts of the country. To tackle this menace, the Nigerian Police Force, NAPTIP, and National Human Rights Commission staged a common front against rape, child molestation, trafficking in persons, and other sexual and gender-based violence in the country.
The Nigerian Police Force is taking full advantage of the state-of-the-art National Crime and Incident Database Center of the Nigeria Police, which is domiciled at the Force Headquarters, Abuja, with its capacity to spread in all the commands so as to collect, profile, store, and share records of sexual and gender-based violence cases with relevant stakeholders.
There are some other partners like the National Assembly who are also willing to work with us, because the work of the Inspector General of Police and the DG NAPTIP who prosecute these cases can be made easier if the laws that border on sexual and gender-based violence and rape are revisited to make their work a little bit easier.
The problem we keep having with rape is the fact that parents are the first people to want to settle these problems within the family. And we are saying that it is not a family matter.
The solution also seeks to resolve to liaise with other partners, strengthen their working relationship and information sharing in the fight against sexual and gender-based violence in the country. In Abuja, Omenka Amarachukwu, NTA News.
And as Nigeria joins the international community to celebrate the Day of the African Child, President Muhammadu Buhari has pledged the commitment of government to protecting children from sexual violence, domestic abuse, and exploitation. The president also reiterates that his administration will continue to ensure that every Nigerian child has access to quality and affordable education by promoting free and compulsory basic education for the first 9 years of schooling. President Buhari expresses concern on over the recent spate of sexual and physical violence on the girl child and directs relevant government agencies to scale up support for victims of violence and ensure that those who have infringed on their rights face the full wrath of the law.
Meanwhile, following the recent spate of rape and gender-based violence being recorded in the country, Nigerian women are advocating domestication of the Child Rights Act by all states across the Federation in order to facilitate protection of the Nigerian child from every form of abuse.
Elizabeth Thomori reports that this was the position of a group during a peaceful march against rape here in Abuja.
Rape, a global crime, medical experts say destroys the emotional and psychological being of the victim. The latest report from the Nigeria Police indicates that 717 cases of rape have been recorded within 5 months in Nigeria. The figure has been generating reactions from different quarters. The latest efforts at curtailing the incidences of rape is this peaceful march by the Nigerian Female Youth Council. The aim is to draw the attention of government, security agencies, and the society on the need to collaborate in the fight against rape, which is fast threatening the freedom of women and girls.
We have experts to train Nigerian police. We are going to do that free to tell you how it's paining us. Train them when they see rape cases, how they will follow it up.
For justice, like Vera and Co., we are asking the Nigerian police and the federal government to ensure that the perpetrators are brought to book. No matter what it's going to take, they should ensure that they are brought to book.
As the group marched through the streets of Abuja, they made a stop at the Ministry of Women Affairs, where the minister assured them of federal government's support.
This war is a societal war. It's not just a war
for the Ministry of Women Affairs. It is a societal problem and must be addressed as such. Mr. President has also approved the launch of a national campaign. This national campaign is to educate, advocacy, sensitization, and involvement of people from the highest to the least.
Mrs. Stalin reiterated that the ministry is working tirelessly with relevant government agencies to curb rape and gender-based violence.
Enough is enough! Enough is enough! Enough is enough!
In Abuja, Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
And with the increasing number of rape cases across the country, there is urgent need for strict enforcement of laws prohibiting rape and other gender-based violence.
Now, this is the submission of the Federation of Muslim Women's Association of Nigeria, Akwa Ibom State Chapter, as they marched round the streets with a stopover at NTA Uyo to campaign against rape.
Across Nigeria, the media space is inundated by stories of rape and gender-based violence perpetrated by some persons who unfortunately and in most cases are known persons to the victims. In some states like Akwa Ibom, there have been reported cases of arrest of perpetrators of these evil acts, and just recently, the Zamfara State Police Command paraded a 25-year-old man suspected to have raped a minor. The call that everyone should be involved in this fight is yielding fruits, as more groups are lending their voices to condemn the despicable acts.
La ilaha illallah, war against rape. War against rape.
The Federation of Muslim Women's Association of Nigeria, Akwa Ibom State Chapter, took to the streets to campaign against rape, a campaign that culminated at the premises of NTA Uyo.
For rapists, they should be brought to book and even let their name be registered, be written boldly on a national register, so that they will learn and know that it is anti-human.
We cannot open our eyes down and see our daughters or our women being molested, and after that they get killed.
They advise parents to rise up to their responsibilities of training both the male and female children.
The parents should go back to the drawing board. Train the men, their boy child, to respect the body of a woman. Train their girl child to respect the body of a man, because it's vice versa.
Even people wearing hijab, wearing niqab, are being raped. Does it mean they are not properly dressed?
In Uyo, Edith Yongiba, NTA News.
Yes, Claire, you know, I like some of those ladies chanted in one of the reports, enough is enough. It's really, I can't really understand why there's such a spike in cases of rape in the country. Could it be because we now have people talking more about it, especially on social media? Could that be the reason?
And that could be a reason, you know, because those who have really, or who are in the forefront of this have said, well, apart from COVID-19, the reason, one of the reasons why we see upsurge is because the silence is being broken. A lot more, you know, people living with rape, you know, are coming out to, of course, to tell their stories. And it's also good now that, you know, like the Minister of Women Affairs did say, there's greater political will, both at the federal and at the state levels. And it's also good that women, and led by the wife of the president, you know, are coming out. In fact, the 36 states, the wife of the 36 state governors have said, look, this time we're going to hold our husbands accountable in terms of domesticating the laws and enforcing the laws.
Certainly.
So,
well, let's hope things change soon. Now, the renewed onslaught against the activities of bandits in Katsina State is yielding positive results as the State Police Command apprehends no fewer than 50 suspected bandits terrorizing 8 frontline local government areas in the state.
now the State Commissioner of Police, Sanusi Buba, who paraded the suspects, called on the public to always furnish the police with useful information so as to address armed banditry in the state. Shehu Adam reports.
For quite some time, the resurgence of banditry in some local government areas of Katsina State has led to destruction of properties and rendering others homeless. The recent areas affected by the activities of armed bandits include some communities in Dutsamma, Dan Musa, Faskari, Batsari, Safana and Jibi local government areas of Katsina State. The State Police Commissioner Sanusi Buba said of a review of its strategies, the command had succeeded in apprehending over 50 suspected armed bandits. CP Sanusi Buba disclosed that the command has declared wanted one Adamu, also known as Nkuzu, from Zamfara State, for masterminding the recent attack on Kaidisau village.
I hereby place the sum of 5 million naira on his head, dead or alive. Any person or group of persons that have useful information that may lead to his arrest to please report to the nearest police station.
The police commissioner also disclosed that the command has recovered items to include 10 AK-47 rifles, 5 pistols, 25 locally made guns, 5 vehicles, and 20 motorcycles. In Katsina, Shehu Adamu, NTA News.
And it's time to talk business now as we join Kunle Ade for details.
Nigeria's economy is gradually picking up following the negative effects of COVID-19. With uncertainty still surrounding the global oil market, many countries have been adopting various steps to help their economies out of the woods. An economic development and investment promotion expert, Ogbonna Okuku, has advised the federal government to invest in the manufacturing sector as remedy. He said the sector is capable of revamping the economy following the number of people involved in every production chain. Mr. Okuku also said this will enable Nigeria gain more in terms of technology acquisition.
Oil is no more, as far as I am concerned, and the whole world knows that oil is selling at a very ridiculous price at this point in time. There has to be a direct focus or refocusing of the economy from oil to manufacturing, and if you must do that, there has to be your raw material supply strategy has to be watertight. It has to be properly aligned with the industrial revolution that has to happen within the next 6-7 months.
And the equities market on Tuesday closed on a negative note as Nigeria's stock exchange all-share index depreciated by minus 0.09% to close at 24,930.88% against minus 0.91% depreciation recorded previously. With business news, I'm Kunle Ade.
Thanks a lot, Kunle. The National Inland Waterways Authority, NIWA, is making efforts to identify core challenges facing the country's waterways and addressing them for enhanced service delivery with marine and inland waterways security topping the chart in this regard.
The Managing Director of the authority, Dr. George Mogalo, made this disclosure during a visit to the FCT Police Command to enhance partnership. Ilyasu Onoto Yakubu was there.
Issues of safety and security on the inland waterways has been at the forefront on NIWA's quest for enhanced service delivery. This was demonstrated through the establishment of Marine and Inland Waterways Police Command to carefully checkmate piracy, community hostilities, activities of hoodlums and illegal operators at all NIWA locations across the country. This visit, therefore, is to further strengthen synergy towards enhancement of capacity of the various units to boost security for optimum service delivery.
We are a regulatory agency that has a lot of responsibility we have to examine. We find out that in the course of doing this, you are misunderstood in some cases. People want to challenge you. People want to create one problem or the other. But the good luck we have here is that the police have always helped us in making sure that the laws are enforced.
The police says NIWA holds a central place in the nation's quest for growth and development, and as a force with the responsibility to serve, it will continue to support the authorities' operations and marine safety plans.
We are always available for them to ensure they succeed in achieving their mandate. We are government agencies, and government agencies are there to ensure that government succeeds. will do everything that is necessary within the ambits of the law to ensure he succeeds.
Nigeria has the second longest length of waterways in Africa, with about 10,000 kilometers, out of which 3,000 kilometers are navigable. In Abuja, Iliasu Onotu Yakubu, NTA News.
Humanity's unending need for production and consumption continues to threaten the well-being of natural ecosystems.
And World Desertification and Drought Day is therefore initiated to create awareness on global efforts to preserve land and, of course, its resources. Sonangie Fineface tells us more.
Human population is growing steadily. And with increasing population comes increasing demand for land to produce food, animal feed, and fiber for clothing. In our quest to meet up with these demands, land resources continue to be exploited and degraded at unsustainable levels, causing damage to the ecosystems and biological diversity. Now, over 2 billion hectares of productive land are said to be degraded, while human activities have led to the transformation of over 70% of natural ecosystems. To mitigate these, the United Nations set aside 17th of June every year as World Desertification and Drought Day.
The year's event focuses on the intense human activities and unsustainable method of production and consumption to meet the demand for food, feed, and their impact on the limited land resources.
In Nigeria, the federal government is implementing policies like the planting of 25 million trees to restore degraded forest covers and protect livelihoods of people who depend on the land for survival.
We raise the seedlings, and we also acquire seedlings from other agencies and from organizations. We should have enough to plant the 25 million and even beyond by the grace of God before the end of this year. We are working with the state government. They are giving us a lot of cooperation. Some of them are taking seedlings from us, planting and maintaining those seedlings, even private organizations, schools.
The Great Green Wall project of the Federal Ministry of Environment is also making impact in checking desert encroachment in 11 frontline states of the country.
Particularly in northern Nigeria, where land degradation is so much affecting the socio-economic activities of people. We believe that the more trees we have, the better soil we have, the better agricultural production we have, the better means of livelihood for the people living in those places, because trees and other vegetation protect the soil. It protects infrastructure in the area.
Nigeria, like our counterparts the world over, is promoting public awareness and advancing strong community involvement to achieve land degradation neutrality, which is at the core of the 2020 commemoration of World Desertification and Drought Day. In Abuja, Onengiye Fineface, NTA News.
Thanks, Nenge. Troops of Operation Lafia Dole and some elements of the Civilian Joint Task Force have rescued 32 people abducted and eliminated 22 Boko Haram members during an ambush and clearance operation. A statement by the Coordinator of Defense Media Operations, Major General John Enenche, indicates that the rescued comprised 16 women, 16 children and 1 male adult. Major General Enenche notes that the encounter that spanned through Goza, Askira, Uba, Bama, Gamburu, Ngala and Ngazai local government areas of Borno State also captured 1 terrorist, recovered several arms, destroyed criminal camps, while many Boko Haram members escaped with gunshot injuries. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Burate, and the Military High Command commend the armed forces for their patriotism and urge them to sustain the tempo to ensure rapid mopping of the remnant of the terrorists.
And the decade-long insurgency significantly ravaged many communities in Borno, which prompted the present administration to design sustainable post-insurgency reconstruction and resettlement program to return the state to the path of progress and development.
As Mohamed Goni takes a look at reconstruction and housing program of the Governor Babagana Umar Zulum-led administration in Borno State.
A recovery and peace-building assessment report jointly published by the World Bank, United Nations,
Nigerian government, as well as the European Union, estimates destruction from the insurgency at the tune of $5.9 billion across 20 local government areas of Borno. A total of 956,453 private homes, which account for almost 30% of houses in the state, were destroyed by the insurgents. Bama, one of the areas occupied by the insurgents, was worst hit among the council areas devastated, as over 90% of homes were razed down. As the pioneer commissioner in the Ministry of Reconstruction, Rehabilitation and Resettlement, saddled with the responsibility of rebuilding the state in the immediate past administration, and being part of the team that compiled the Recovery and Peace Building Assessment Report, Professor Obagana Umara is in the picture of magnitude of the challenges arising from the decade-long insurgency. On assumption of office, Professor Obagana Umara initiated a series of construction and rebuilding works across the 3 senatorial districts, for which 9.2 billion naira was budgeted in the 2020 appropriation, targeting 7,400 homes in the first year of his administration.
Housing challenges have given rise to high costs and rents. The development of shanty settlements with attendant environmental hazards at the periphery of the city.
Already, 500 housing units are being constructed in Maiduguri, 300 units at Ajiri in Mapa, and 250 units at Kauri in Kandaga local government areas. 500 houses are being rebuilt in New Marche to resettle IDPs from multi-local government taking refuge in Monguno.
Reconstruction, rehabilitation and resettlement is one of the agenda of our own administration. You have seen it. We have started New Marche. God willing, we shall complete the rehabilitation of the 500 housing estates. And we hope to bring them back before end of July, depending upon the security situation.
Governor Babagana Umara also signed a memorandum of understanding with an estate finance and development firm toward construction of 4,900 houses in Borno State, out of which 3,200 are to resettle IDPs, while 1,700 homes will cater for low-income earning civil servants. Primary and comprehensive health centers have been constructed in all the senatorial districts, in addition to rebuilding primary, secondary, and new mega schools, fully equipped and put to use, while the historic Biu Council Secretariat has come to fruition. Within 1 year, the present administration has executed massive roads and drainages projects in Maiduguri, the state capital, with similar infrastructural developments ongoing simultaneously at the local government areas. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
And President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the appointment of 12 new permanent secretaries in the Federal Civil Service. The head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Falashade Yemiason, conveyed the President's approval in a statement signed on her behalf by the Director of Communications, Olaomi Ogumoshle, in Abuja today. The new permanent secretaries are from Kogi, Kano, Anambra, Gombe, Kwara, and Cross River states. Others are from Jigawa, Yobe, Abia, Sokoto, Adamawa, and Oyo states. The swearing in and deployment of the new permanent secretaries will be announced later.
A bit on sports now. English Premier League returns and Bayern Munich wins